Meanwhile, the Indian men's cricket team was given a bit of a rude shock at the start of the first test against New Zealand in Bengaluru. It's day one, the first day of play technically after day one, in fact, was called off due to persistent rains. And India was put on the mat against the Black Caps. India won the toss. And despite the conditions, the skipper chose to bat first. Now, we might think of trying to comprehend that move because they wanted the visitors to bat last on a track that will assist spin as the days go. And India has packed in the spinners in their ranks too. Kuldeep Yadav, R. Ashwin and Ravindra Jadeja, all three finding a place in the 11. Captain Rohit Sharma at the toss also admitted the pitch would be sticky to start with, but watching the Indian batters come out and proceed back to the pavilion in the same speed, it did seem like they did not expect it to do as much as it did. And this is what Captain Rohit Sharma himself had to say at the end of day's play.
We thought it won't help seamers much after the first session or so. There wasn't much grass too. We thought it would be flat. It was a misjudgment and I couldn't read the pitch well.
That's a big admission by the captain there. He says it was a misjudgment, that he did not read the pitch. A lot of them did not read the pitch as they thought it was. Of course, New Zealand's Matt Henry, a master of these conditions, ran riot through that Indian lineup. He picked up a fifer, and that was much deserved. New Zealand went in with three pacers and all three bowled with great discipline. Tim Southee only picked up 1 wicket for his 6 overs. The rest went to William O'Rourke, who dismissed some key batters, including Yashasvi Jaiswal at the top, Virat Kohli and KL Rahul. So what really was the bottom line when it came to India's performance with the bat here today? Did they fail to apply themselves on a pitch that was trickier than they assumed it to be? Or did New Zealand completely blow them away with their bowling? I would have to say a bit of both. New Zealand pacers were extremely diligent with their line and length, and they were accurate right from the start. They might have started out a little rather conservatively, but once they did realize the purchase that was on offer and how much returns they were getting, they went on to full attack mode. It was rather disheartening to see a batting lineup of the quality with some of the best hitters in the world, that's India, succumbing to a total that was one of the lowest scores that they have ever made. In fact, their total of 46 in Bengaluru earlier today has been their lowest in India. The third lowest overall when you look at that list there. Australia has dismissed them for 2 scores that make it to an infamous list of top 5 of India's lowest scores in Test cricket. The batter who top scored for India was Rishabh Pant, who struck 20 runs. Netizens, though, went a little crazy with the memes after that innings. Glad some saw the lighter side of it. In response, though, it did not take too long for India to give Jasprit Bumrah and Mohammad Siraj the break and get the spinners in to try and get some breakthroughs, to try and get some positive news in an otherwise very dour day. Rotating between the three wily customers and Ashwin, Jadeja and Kuldeep to try and put that pressure on New Zealand. But the star in their batting lineup was someone who just knows how to play spin by now, Devon Conway. You ought to, if you have spent some seasons in the Chennai Super Kings dressing room at the Indian Premier League. So facing a sort of teammate in some sense, and Ravindra Jadeja came a little naturally to Conway. He fell a few runs short of his 100, but those 91 runs of 105 deliveries were very well made, and he worked very smart to get those. But more importantly, his knock was critical in ensuring that New Zealand did not get swept up in that spin web that India always casts on its oppositions, especially at home. That's what they will look to try and get to as the days pass and spin gets a little more difficult to tackle. But the one worry for the host, the Rohit Sharma, in that post-day press conference allayed those fears, would be the image of Rishabh Pant hobbling across the field. He was struck on the knee while keeping and had to be assisted off the field. Apparently, he will be taken for scans. There was some work done on his fitness, and The captain believes he will take the field tomorrow. Shouldn't be too serious. Dhruv Jurel, though, came on to keep his place. But getting back to where this test is poised, I'm reminded of that shocking Adelaide innings, the lowest total ever, and of how India came back from that 36 to eventually win over that series and come back strong. But what is at stake here is a place in the final of the World Test Championship. And keeping that in mind, every test counts, including this one. The first test in a series, in fact, sets the momentum up for how the rest of it could pan out. India, of course, trounced that theory against Australia in what will be one of the most memorable and one of those odd test wins that will always be remembered for India's magnificent comeback in an away series against mighty Australia. They'll look to try and replicate some of that success here as they aim to wrest back the advantage that they might have lost in this test so far.
Firstpost decodes the U.S. election, explains how America chooses its president. Your primer on the race to the White House. Everything you need to know about how America votes and its global implications. U.S. Election Explained. Every Monday and Thursday only on Firstpost.